I think it just came out.
Okay, are we ready to get?
She's not coming.
Oh, she's not, sorry.
Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Would you please take roll?
Ms. Adkins?
Here.
Mr. Houston?
Here.
Mrs. McDaniel? Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Wyledge? Mrs. Sheffel?
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the May 1st, 2023 agenda?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Vote please.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheffel?
Yes. Commendation and good news.
I do have a presentation for us, because we don't have any visitors here tonight. Just kind of talking through there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. We've had everything from our kindergarten roundup day, which I know that this year they did a signing table, so they put out like the Lewis Central backdrop and the Lewis Central table cover, and we had little kids, like they were signing, like they're going off to college. We've had preschool registration. We're currently just about getting ready. I think some information went out today regarding second grade orientation. We've had family nights and field trips and concerts and all sorts of really, really good stuff. So, but I did want to point out a couple things from up here, and I have our Lewis Central leadership program from April 17th. They went out and did a cleanup. They went down on I think on First Street, and they went down and did a project out there. They called it what was it? Scoot something. So anyway, they just all went on their scooters and they went down and did that. The Lewis Central Leadership program at the middle school has been going for a while now. Dustin Kern is one of the sponsors. Dustin Kern, and then Nathan Van Stanty is another one. They had a golf tournament last Friday. I think Mr. Houston was one of the first members of
Iowa Leadership Academy.
the Southwest Iowa Leadership Academy, which is what this group is right here. So they had a golf tournament on Saturday to raise some funds. So just provide some really good leadership opportunities for our students. If you go to the next one. We had on April 18th, they had the PTA Family Night at Titan Hill. One of the cool things I think about our PTA this year is their events are not necessarily fundraising events. They're events that are geared towards getting our parents and our community involved in our schools, like just physically having them come here. And so their family night, they did bring a lot of outside vendors in, but they had a book fair, and they had, I did all sorts of things. I did math games, I did art stuff. We went outside, and the soccer team, the LC soccer team was outside. Running the kids through drills. We had basketball, we had softball, we had the Omaha Beef. I think it's beef, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were there. So just a lot of really cool activities. I know we were there for probably at least 2 hours and just running from event to event. So it was a lot of fun. Go to the next one. We had the musical Freaky Friday. It was the first musical in our new auditorium, and that was April 21st through the 23rd. The kids did a phenomenal job. The music was excellent. Hats off go to Mr. Tucker, Ms. Blue, Mr. Schrader, Alan, and anybody else who was involved with it. I mean, they just did a phenomenal job. The kids were great. The musical was funny. The singing was wonderful. Mr. Black played down in the orchestra in the orchestra pit down below. Really shined. I realized he was a good trumpet player, but I'd never actually heard him play. He's all that they make him out to be. He's really good. So, but it was a lot of fun. We had on April 25th, so last Tuesday, the Edwards family donated a memorial bench for Evan Edwards. And so I think they do it at the end of the soccer game. So at the end of the soccer game, they had a memorial event. So he was a former player, passed away. So it's nice that we can have something to remember him by. So. And then we have the Thriving Titans event. That is today and tomorrow. This is a group of people, they get together and they put out clothing for those in need. I don't even know, how long has it been going on? Quite a while. So Annie Esterling runs it right now, doesn't she? So Annie Esterling runs it. Just do a phenomenal job for our community. So. PTA movie night. So they were supposed to have the movie night last Friday, but it was cold and wet and windy, and so they moved it to this Friday night, and they are going to be on the football field. It'll be a little bit interesting because softball also has an event on the softball field this Friday night where they're going to have kids go out and participate in practice, and then watch a little bit of practice, and then there's an auction and a raffle, or I don't think raffle, not just an auction. So just trying to get, raise a little money, but also get our young Titans interested in playing softball. And then I think afterwards or alongside it, they'll be doing the PTA movie night. They have some giant screens they're going to put out in the field. And so I will be there. Not this Friday, next Friday, but I will be there. So it should be a pretty good time. So. And then finally, we had former Titan, Max Duggan. He was drafted in the NFL draft this weekend in the 6th round by the Chargers. And so that's really exciting. The fact that we had somebody from our school taken this year, it's actually crazy. We've had somebody taken this year in the soccer draft, and now somebody's taken in the NFL draft. So pretty amazing to have those former students in that position to succeed. So, and that's it. Unless you guys have anything else, I'm probably missing a ton because there's
Special Olympics track and field.
Oh yes, Special Olympics track and field that was held at Iowa Western. Now was it just last week? 2 weeks ago, 2 Mondays ago, and so 2 Tuesdays ago.
Yes, sir.
And so I went down there, and I think I was told it's the first time that we've had both of our relays won. So that's pretty phenomenal. And I'll tell you, there's no more fun outing than going and watching the students participate in Special Olympics. Just the sheer excitement and the love they have for one another, and it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, those kids want to win. Like they work hard, they work their tails off. But at the end of the race, it's just amazing to see. I mean, you won't find that in any other sport, where at the end of a race or end of a competition, like they are all genuinely super happy for each other. That's very uncommon in really any sporting activity. So. But it was just a ton of fun. I went down there. I only had about a half hour. I was going to pop in and out, and I ended up staying, the entire rest of the time. So I just kind of said, you know what, whatever I had going on was not more important than being here. This is amazing. So tons of fun.
Anyone else, any good news? Okay. Comments and suggestions. This is the first time during our agenda that anyone in the audience or anyone online, if they want to type something in, can address the board. Okay. Hearing none, we'll go on to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Do we have an updated personnel sheet?
Yes.
Here we go. Is there any discussion?
Hold on.
Okay.
With math, wait for, okay, I got it now.
Good?
Yep.
Vote, please.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins? Yes. Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Report 6.01, the superintendent report.
So just a couple things. We just had our Iowa assessments back, and some of the preliminary data is really good across the board. As far as a district, we were up in comparison to where we were last year with reading and math. Middle school in particular, and I'm just saying those because Mandy was able to, Dr. Reynolds was able to get me all of her numbers, and I'll talk in more detail about everybody else's individual scores later. But she was up, I think 12% in math and 6% in reading. So middle school had some huge gains, which that's really nice to see. You know, that's a good indicator that there's some solid instruction going on and kids are working and doing exactly what they need to do. So, but all I know is the middle school scores, so I want to make sure I mention those tonight. I'll mention the other groups next time we get together. We are currently going through another round of our iReady testing today, and hopefully we'll have that done by the end of next week. And then really kind of getting to the point where we're starting to wind down. You see a lot of activities, so we have some picnics coming up for our elementary students. We have baseball and softball, or baseball starting today for practice, and I think softball as well. And then we have soccer's in full swing, track's in full swing, tennis is in full swing, music is winding down, the play's over. Just a lot of different activities. I feel like we're coming and going in every direction. And then one of the things I did want to point out is that I kind of got an update. There's a group of individuals, community members out there that are getting the petition signed to raise the money that the school can use to through a bond for infrastructure and to add an elementary school that would allow us to be centrally located, allow us to repurpose Craft as a therapeutic school, allow us to put an addition on the middle school for a growing population. And that is circulating out there, and I believe that they are anticipating having the signatures they need to present to the board next board meeting. So, but other than that, that's kind of it for now.
Okay. We'll go on to our discussion item, 7.01, high school bathroom renovation.
So we had originally reached out and tried to get some bids on this. It's kind of hard. Everybody's super busy. So we were able to, we always try to get at least 3 bids. The competitive bid threshold, as far as for a state process, has moved from 131,000 to 196,000 as of January 1st. Otherwise, a project of this magnitude would require us to go through a statewide bidding process, but because it's under 196,000, we were able to just do our regular bidding process where we get multiple bids, have them come in a sealed fashion, and then we look through them. So we had originally we had 1 bid come through, so then we rebid it, and we ended up getting 2 bids come in this week. So we have one from All Purpose Construction, and what this would do is this would renovate our 2 commons bathrooms. So the ones that are highly used for the auditorium and highly used for, I mean, all of our kids use them during lunchtime, and then for any activity we have at the high school. The bathrooms are in pretty rough shape. The countertops are falling apart. The toilet, the actual, the porcelain's good, but the actual toilet fixtures themselves, the piping portions need to be replaced. Some of the partitions are still good, but some of them just aren't sticking in the walls anymore, have been kind of really vandalized to the point where if we can eliminate some of the panels. So we brought in just to try to see what it would cost us to replace. So all this would do is this would replace all the tile that's in there. So they would take the tile out, they would take the countertops out and the sinks, remount new countertops, retile the bathrooms, make them a little more modern, make them finished, and then redo the partitions. And then the toilet fixtures themselves, the porcelain would widely stay. They would replace the plumbing for the fixtures. So try to give them a facelift and make them so they all work. First bid came in, we're anticipating a third one, but we never ended up getting it in. First bid came in at $242,887, and then the second one from Wheeling Construction is $162,700. So that would be my recommendation at this point. We have budgeted in the money to be able to use our save and PEPAL money to be able to do this. This is as we talk about save and PEPAL moving forward, and that's our 1 cent sales tax. It's these types of projects that we're able to continue to do on an annual basis with that money. So that would be the recommendation would be to renovate those 2 bathrooms.
And this would be done this summer?
They would start, essentially what the plan is we have a staff meeting the morning of June 5th, and then they would start demoing as soon as the meeting's over. So, and then they would be ready to go by August 1st.
When we say second entrance, which entrance is the first?
So both bathrooms have an entrance that come off the commons, and then they have an exit in the rear that kind of goes in this little tiny hallway. And so what the idea is, we don't need that second entrance. That was originally made so you can they could have a traffic flow, but what ends up happening is we have kids that go in the first entrance, sneak out the second entrance, is because it's a real narrow hallway that's tucked back. That's where they end up getting into fights and stuff. And so what we talked about was we could use more storage anyway at the very back, blocking up that second entrance and making a little, a closet, like a water closet type of thing, but no water, so they can store some mops and stuff in there, and then there wouldn't be that second entrance. So there'll just be one entrance off of the commons area there.
So wall off the one that's closest to the gym. Am I thinking about that right?
Correct, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
down the hall. a little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah,
toward-
yeah.
Going down the hall.
And then there would be, we have the funds to be able to get, working with LCEF, our Education Foundation, we'd like to be able to get basically a big, it's like a 70-inch touchscreen TV, and that's where our record boards and stuff would go. We just don't have a place to hang it right now. There's not a lot of wall space, like open wall space. So they would, it's kind of like a V that goes back to those bathrooms. We would finish walling that off and just put a door in there so we can get back to that area. But that would create a spot for us to put that touchscreen panel. So
Okay,
that's all part of this as well.
got it.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, 7.02 Chromebook replacement cycle.
So every year we go through a Chromebook replacement this year, and this is just because Chromebooks really last. They're inexpensive and they're great because of that. But then the problem is they really only last. I mean, just like any technology, they last 4 to 5 years. So this allows us to replace them. And what they end up doing is they give new Chromebooks to all the new 6th graders that come in, and then give new Chromebooks to all the new 9th graders, and then they replace several of the elementary. They pick several grades and then replace them as well. So that way they're always on a rotation rather than having to come up with 3,000 devices in 1 year. So there's 3 bids. One is from Riverside Technologies, comes out to about $355 a device, and then Journey Ed out of Dallas comes out to $368 a device, and then Connection out of New Hampshire comes into about $366.30 a device. So the recommendation would be to go with Riverside Technology. It's who we've done business with for forever. So they're real reliable. It's all the same devices, so as far as the company, it doesn't really matter except for the fact that we've done business with Riverside before and we know that they get them here on time. So that's the extent. And then this all comes again out of our saved money, so.
Any questions? Discussion? All right. 7.04, employee request for other paid or unpaid
Oh,
leave.
I think we missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry. 7.03, E-rate switches and wireless APs.
So the nice thing about this is E-rate, so they actually end up paying, for, I think 60% of, or 70% of it, is that what it is?
60%.
60%, so they end up paying 60% of it. Oh yeah, there it is right there, 60% reimbursement. So even though the initial purchase is 82,500-ish, it actually comes out to, for what will come out of our pocket, would be about 33,000. And what they would do is they would replace a couple switches for us, and then some outdoor APs, so, which is how we connect to our internet wirelessly. So, and then we have a rotation that we do these types of projects on. We did bid this out to 3 different companies. Only one chose to bid it, RTI. The other companies were just frank and said, if you're gonna have RTI bid, we're not gonna beat them anyway. So they just didn't bid, so. I said, well, that doesn't help us with multiple bids, but.
Not really.
Any discussion? Okay, now we'll go to 7.04. Employee request for other paid or unpaid leave. Per Iowa code, we are allowed to have this for a closed session. So with that, can I get a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Wyledge?
Yes.
Ms. Atkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Shepherd?
Yes. Everyone can turn off their We ready? Okay. We are back from closed session. Comments and suggestions. This is the second time during our agenda that anyone in the audience or anyone online can address the board. Hearing none, all right. We'll go on then to action items. And 9.01, high school bathroom renovation.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Adkins.
I would like to make a motion to recommend Wheeldon Construction with a bid of $162,700 for the bathrooms as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Rylage?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. 9.02, Chromebook replacement cycle.
Madam Chairwoman,
Mr. Stoffer.
I'd like to make a motion to purchase 800 HP Chrome X36011 G3EE Chromebooks from RTI for a total of $308,800.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Rylage?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. 9.03, E-rate switches and wireless apps.
Madam President,
Mr. Houston.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the E-rate switches and wireless APs from RTI for the amount of $82,494.64.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Rylage?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. 9.04, employee requests for other paid or unpaid leave.
Madam President,
Mr. Stoffer.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote, please.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stoffer?
Yes.
Mr. Rylage?
Yes.
Ms. Adkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Shuffle?
Yes. Items of interest, future board meetings. Our next meeting will be our regular meeting on May 15th at 6:30.
I do have, first of all, today is May 1st, so it's, May is officially Board Appreciation Month, so just want to say I appreciate you, and we'll have a little bit more for you guys at the May 15th meeting. Excuse me. And then secondly, I want to recognize that we have Mrs. Christine Denton with us today, and she was last Thursday selected to be the new craft principal. So she comes to us as a very accomplished administrator from OPS, having served in a variety of capacities, including serving in their largest elementary school as head principal for several years, and at the district level in a variety of capacities. So she is excited. We are excited. She's been emailing me kind of nonstop about, no, you're good, about what's going on, how can I get involved, what can we do, what does planning look like. She's invited her entire staff to join her for coffee on a day to get to know them and talk about, you know, goals and aspirations and those types of things. So, so yeah, she's already in the 3 days I've known her hit the ground running. So,
Welcome.
Thank you very
Yes,
much, very
welcome.
excited. And also May 1st happens to be Principal Appreciation Day.
Yes,
so
it is Principal
make sure you
Appreciation
send a
Day.
text out to any of our fine administrators in the district as well, so thank you.
yes.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Stay.
You can stay. Do we have bills to sign?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for listening and coming.